So forest and wildlife, whenever we talk about forest and wildlife, there is one term associated with it that is called as biodiversity. Now, biodiversity is, you can even have in your area, you go to your area and start making a list of organisms found near you. Okay, by organisms, I don't mean only animals, it is including plants, birds, everything. So forest is one type of biodiversity hotspot rather. Why it is called as biodiversity hotspot? Because in forest you can see many different type of organisms living together. You can find many different types of, or we can say, you can find millions of different types of bacteria, thousands of different species of fungus, then ferns, flowering plants, nematodes, insects, birds, reptiles, many different organisms together you will find in a forest. Okay, so that is why forest is called as a biodiversity hotspot, and biodiversity means different type of species what is found in a particular area. Okay, this is what is biodiversity. And biodiversity, I mean, forest, if we see, there are stakeholders which are associated with the forest. Okay, now stakeholders, in a very simple language, if I explain, they are those people who are dependent directly or indirectly to the forest. So let us see who are these people, who are these stakeholders. So first stakeholder, if I see, they are the people, the local people rather, who live in the forest, and they are dependent upon the products which are obtained from the forest to survive their life. These people live in the forest, and you can say they live for the forest. They live in the forest and they live for the forest. Then the next stakeholders are those people associated with forest department. These are the people of government which own the land and control the resources from forest. Then the third is the industrialist who is again dependent on forest or the forest products, but are not dependent on the forest in any one area. Okay, they are only dependent on the products obtained from the forest. And stakeholder, I mean, the next stakeholder is those people who are enthusiasts. Okay, wildlife enthusiasts or nature enthusiasts who want to conserve the nature in its pristine form. They will just simply enjoy being in the nature. Okay, they will not cause harm to the nature. So let us see in detail one by one about these organisms. So these are all the stakeholders which are dependent on the forest and the product of forest, and we will discuss individually about these stakeholders. The first stakeholder are the local people. Let us see how these local people are depending upon the forest. Now, the local people, as discussed, they are living in the forest, or we can say they belong to a tribal community or different community which live in the forest, and they are dependent for products like firewood, then timber, then thatch. Even they are they are using bamboo to make huts, to make baskets for collecting and storing the food material. Then they also are dependent on forests for agriculture purpose, for fishing, hunting. Okay, and the instrument what is used for agriculture, fishing and hunting is also obtained from the forest. Okay, then they are also dependent to for eating of the fruits, collecting of nuts. And there are many plants which are found in forest, they have the medicinal property, so they use the plants for medicine purpose also. Then if they have cattle in their home, then they are taking those cattle for grazing, for obtaining fodder to feed them. So these are all products what these local people take the benefit from the forest. But then here I would like to add upon that even though they are, dependent upon the forest and they are using the product from the forest, but these people will not cause harm to the forest because, they are living in harmony with the forest. And in the past, there have been many incidents where these people have even sacrificed their life to conserve them. So these people, they live in the forest and they try to conserve them. They will not try to harm them. And this is one of the case which has happened in Assam. Why the several area of Assam is not allowed for people to invade or for people to go, because those are the people are very much sensitive towards the nature. They feel that if humans start interfering, then they will destroy their biodiversity. So these are the benefits. I mean, these are the local people who are so much attached, so much connected with the environment or the nature where they are living. Then come the next type of stakeholders, that is the forest department. Now, in the past, if we just see the people associated with forest department in British time. So these people, they destroyed the forest. If you must have heard or read somewhere, they used to cut the forest to grow the plants or those things which from the product they can get benefit. Okay, like for example, if they have got to know that pine and teak and growing eucalyptus would help them to increase their economy. So what these people used to do, they used to cut the forest and they used to grow these trees. Okay, because from that they can get the wood and all. So they used to grow only those plants which were helping them to increase their economy. So these people, in British days, the forest department, so they used to depend upon the plants which could gain them the profit. But they did not realize that in cutting the forest or destroying the forest, actually, even though they are growing up the tree, even though they are planting the tree, but then they are in return destroying the nature. Okay, they are destroying the biodiversity rather, I would say. Okay, so these people, apart from destroying the biodiversity, apart from destroying the varieties of things found in forest, these people have also hindered or interfered in the usage of local people. So the local people could not take medicine, cannot take fodder, cannot take herbs, because the rich biodiversity have been destroyed. So the local people which used to feed, which used to depend upon the forest products, because the forests have been destroyed, these people cannot take the benefit also. So two laws here we have got. One is the local people cannot survive properly, and the other thing is that the bigger thing is that the biodiversity was destroyed. So this was the case of the forest department. Then if we just move to the next stakeholder, that is the industrialist. Now, if we just talk about the industrialists are no less than the forest department. These people are so selfish that first of all, they are not at all related with the forest. I mean, directly with the forest, but these people are related with the product obtained from the forest, and they are least bothered whether the biodiversity is being harmed or not. They are only interested, they are only bothered about the product and the profit. Okay, since the environmental sources are obtained free of cost or with very less or with cheap investment, and they give a huge profit. So like growing up of tree must not cost much, but then selling of that wood, that can be much profit for them. So these industrialists, they are dependent upon the forest product, and in a way they are selfish, they are destroying the biodiversity. There are many illegal things which have been reported which are occurring because of the industrialist. So in a way they are destroying the diversity. Then the next is the forest department. Now, forest department here, rather we would say that these are those people who work for conservation of the forest, and even the conservationists. Okay, they will work to conserve the animals and plants which are on the threat of extinction or they are endangered. Okay, so these not only the animals, they are also working for conservation of plants. So forest department again, they are the conservationist, which work for conservation of the nature. Then if we talk about the next thing, that is management of forest. Now in management of forest, there are not because now we think that we are educated and we have now become sensitive towards the nature, but it is not like that. If you just see many cases from many years back. Okay, so those cases which have occurred actually, they reveal that those people who were not that literate, but in real sense they were educated, because we being illiterate, we are not too much sensitive towards the nature. But many years back, those people who did not have much knowledge about technology, but still they were very much uh, what we can say, sensitive towards conservation of the resources. Okay, we now, whenever we talk, we call ourselves as modern, we call ourselves as knowledgeable and literate, but when we compare ourselves with those people who were in the past, so there have been many cases reported where those people have literally sacrificed their life, and they have done many things to conserve the natural resources. Like one of the famous cases of the Bishnoi community, which was found in western Rajasthan and border of Thar Desert. So these people were, living in harmony with the nature, and they have sacrificed their life to protect the plants and animals and the environment. And because of them, the government has also given them the honor in, giving a national award called as Amrita Devi Bishnoi National Award for Wildlife Conservation in memory of Amrita Devi Bishnoi. You see, in 1731, in those days, this lady, along with 363 people, they have sacrificed their life to protect the Khejri trees in Kejriwal village of Jodhpur. So, just to protect a tree, we cannot imagine that, one can sacrifice their life. They were so sensitive towards the nature. And I know, and you just think, we are sitting and there has been a syllabus or course designed for us, where we have to sit and study that we have to conserve the nature. You just imagine this condition where people has to be taught, okay, that we have to conserve the nature. We have become so insensitive that someone has to tell us, or we are forced to study, or the course is included, so that it creates awareness among the people that we have to conserve the nature. It's next to a mockery, because we are living in the nature, we are dependent upon the nature, and we are harming the nature. So we have to, we want someone to teach us, to tell us that we have to conserve the nature, because people are not doing that. Like if you see, then even the study have shown that the prejudice against the traditional use of forest, they have no basics. Like if we see Himalayan National Park, which contained alpine meadow, which were grazed by the sheep in summer. Now, because this area has been declared as a national park, so now the nomads cannot, take their sheep for grazing. And because of this problem, is because of this restriction where the animals cannot graze over that region. So now it is seen that the grass, they grow very tall and then they fall over, and they cut off the oxygen supply, and they do not allow the fresh crops, fresh plants, sorry, fresh grass to grow. So this is again a problem where if people interfere with the natural setting, then one thing or the other thing will be destroyed. So this is one, again the incident has happened, and we need to accept that human intervention has been very much a part of the forest and landscape. We cannot run from this truth. It is fact. And forest resources, they used to they be used in a manner that both environment as well as it work for the development in a good word. Okay, like the environment is preserved, as well as the benefit can go to the local people, as well as it can help the economic growth and ecological conservation. Means we have to plan such a thing that everything can go parallel. Means the forest is also conserved, the people get benefit also, and we get economic growth also. Everything should go hand in hand with. And this is the tree, you can see, this is an example. This is the Kejri tree, which we were talking about, and for this tree people have sacrificed their life. So the kind of economic and social development that we want will ultimately determine whether the environment will be conserved or further destroyed. So this is what whatever choice we take, which it will decide if whether it will be conserved or whether it will be destroyed. If we exploit the plant for its medicinal property, then a time will come, then the plant will get exploited, overused, and then it will vanish from the nature. Or we can say it will get uh, exhausted one day. Okay, it is a vast and complex entity that offer a range of natural resource for our use. We need to use this resource with due caution for our economic and social growth and to meet our material aspirations. Of course, we cannot avoid this. We cannot avoid this.